What up, y'all? Morning hustle, man. You never know who's gonna pull up in our after hours situation. And look who just entered the Zoom chat room looking just like herself. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise one time for Maya.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Already. We're doing great. And here's the cool thing, Maya. Like, like being a DC representative like Angie is, she recently mentioned to us just casually in passing, like, yeah, I know Maya and da 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 da. I'm like, what? We gotta have her pull up on us on the morning hustle after hours joint so we can see what she's been up to, because you did an impromptu concert not too long ago and it had the internet set on fire. And yeah, like
Yes.
I was so salty that I didn't get the heads up. I'm a big fan, and no one's going to see any shows, so we'll take it any way we can get it.
Well, I actually did something for TV One for a whole hour. They had an in-living room experience with people. A lot of artists came through weekly. So I did one, but I had a lot of requests and I didn't get to finish it. So I ended up staying on my IG page for like 4 additional hours, just talking to my followers and supporters.
And that's the part that hurts the most, because we actually work for Radio One, which is a subsidiary. They give us some level of email or something, because I totally would have been there. Like, I would have been there with, like, I would have dressed like I was going to a real concert, and I would have actually helped out. It would have been great.
I wasn't planning on anything. It was just very impromptu, like you said. But I might do it weekly because I'm getting some requests. It's fun.
I was gonna say, it seemed like you got a lot of requests. Were there any that like kind of surprised you that they kind of asked for? I know you probably got the typical, it's all about me, and you got the typical ones, Lady Marmalade and all that type of stuff. But were there some that kind of caught you off guard, like, oh, let me give you that?
Yeah. As long as I wouldn't sing in this time. Yeah.
Really?
Discuss the title. But I did get some good requests. They wanted me to sing a couple Michael Jackson songs, which I don't have music to. Some other artist covers. So I'm going to work on that and getting the music together.
You have a lot of classics. Is there any song that, like, you deep down in your heart, it's a big song, a lot of people like it, but you're like, oh my God, I'm so sick of singing this damn song?
Yeah, it's probably Take Me There.
Toy Story soundtrack, right?
That song is always annoyed me.
That's a classic.
I don't know. It's just very immature, but a lot of adults like it. A lot of thugs like it. I get surprised.
Yeah.
But
I never performed that song in the clubs.
Really? But that's the crazy part, though, Maya. A lot of people who have grown up to be like, older thoughts, and even like, young thugs who are now older thugs, at one point in time, they was pulled up watching a Rugrats movie before like their times changed. So, you might be actually out here saving lives if you perform that song.
I do perform it on my IG and some proper festivals, but I don't perform it, in the hood spots too much.
Yo, we were feverishly working really hard, like, off the grid, because like sometimes we think of ideas real time, and we're like, yo, what would be the coolest thing that we could surprise Maya with? And I'm like, yo, what is the last time Maya seen Silk the Shocker? Yo, what if we get Silk the Shocker to just jump in here on his IG live and like do like a moving on reunion or something like that? But no one could get a hold of him, so it didn't work out. What is the last time y'all seen each other and performed that song live?
I think in 2004 or 5. He jumped on stage at this concert, and I think it was Fresno, California. It was a surprise. I had no clue.
Wow.
That's dope.
It was big in California. It was big in the southern region when it came out in 2000. But yeah, that was the last time I actually saw him in person.
What would it take to get like that to go down again? Like, what if you could do like, once this quarantine's over, a Maya and Friends show, and you get everybody to pull up on you that ever did like a feature with you and get it popping?
I would love to. I know a lot of artists do that, especially on their 20th anniversaries. So yeah, I would love to do that. The Lady Marmalade 20th anniversary is coming next year. The Jay-Z remix is coming this year, which Jadakiss' remix for Best of Me. I mean, part 1 for Best of Me.
Yeah.
Wow.
This year. So there's a lot of collaborations that I would love to do a concert with.
Who do you think is the hardest person to get a hold of? Like, because these are all heavy hitters. If you call Jadakiss, Jay-Z,
Little Kim.
The ladies from Lady
Like, I
Marmalade.
need y'all to do this
I don't
real
know
quick.
who's really busy right now, so this might be the time, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Everybody pulling up right now if you do it on Zoom. Like,
Right.
so
It's an idea, you know?
yeah. So Maya, what's going on with the reality show that y'all had, Girls Cruise? Well, it's kind of like a reality show, right? Girls Cruise with you and all the ladies and stuff. Are y'all gonna do another a second part to that?
Well, I'm hoping so because Kim actually announced a season 2 online somewhere, and I caught it. And the producers were hitting me up about season 2, but it started filming last year in the end of February, March, you know, around Carnival time, mid-February, March. So that was kind of like out of the question this year because of everything that went down with you know, Corona and whatnot. But I would love to do it again. It was a lot of fun, and we've had some bonds. Kim was actually talking about bringing some of our fans on board on the ship.
Oh, that would be cute. That would be cute. What's one of the women on the cast that you actually grew a relationship with based off of the show?
Pretty V and I talk a lot.
Yeah.
She does her music thing, so we talk a lot about the business and you know certain things, or even styling or whatever connections I might have, and you know we just have a good conversation. And she's crazy.
Yeah, V is
A lot of
hilarious,
fun.
man.
She's a lot of fun.
And Maya, I gotta ask too. You know, one of the things I love talking to you about anytime I get you on is your vegan lifestyle and the fact that you know again you're celebrating 20 years of certain songs, and you know if we were to put a side by side of you 20 years ago when you're performing them and you today, not much change. And you attribute a lot of that to lifestyle changes, and you actually have like a vegan guide to help people and beginners. And I know last time we talked, you even said at one point you wanted to like go back to school and maybe like really dive into it. It's something that you're really into. So can you speak to like where you're at with your vegan journey and converting more people and just where you're at with that?
Well, right now during this time, while I have the time, I'm actually reading this book by Dr. Africa, who recently passed. It's called I forgot what it was called off top, but I'll get back to that. I'm just furthering my education in what to eat, how to eat properly, food combinations, because I started vegan life, you know, as a beginner myself and kind of learned it as I went. I created the Cliff Notes in my starter guide, conducted challenges online. So I've done everything from the regular vegan, processed transitional food, which is not so healthy, to the raw vegan challenges, to the alkaline electric, more Dr. Sabi challenges, and even a juicing challenge last year. So right now, I'm taking this time to put some recipes and add to the starter guide, not just food, but products to use.
Right.
From the right deodorants that don't cause cancer, a whole wellness guide within the starter guide. But I have to do some studying. And there's some online courses like integrative nutrition that I'm interested in taking. So now's the time. I don't know how long this quarantine is going to last, but I'm taking full advantages of reading the books at least.
Because Dr. Sebi, there's about to be that Dr. Sebi documentary or that Nick Cannon's doing. Like, do you kind of subscribe or did you believe in a lot of the things that he was talking about as far as food and it being such a cure for all these different ailments and whatnot?
To get rid of the mucus in the body.
I followed a lot of pages and a lot of people argued with what he had to say and access to certain foods that maybe he didn't have access to around the world. So I tried it on myself with my alkaline electric challenge with his guide. I even put his guide on my website under my starter guide. And there's some truth in it because my skin was clearer. I had a lot more energy. I felt actually different.
Right.
I got a Grammy after that, like a Grammy nomination for a whole album after that. And I'm like, there's something to it spiritually, physically, mentally. So I tried it on myself and then I conducted the challenge online after that. So I believe there's some truth.
How does it go with like could you ever date anybody that didn't eat healthy or eat clean or that wasn't a vegan? How does that work? Like what if it was somebody that was like, oh my God, I love ribs and then like asked you on a date? You know, how does that work?
See, somebody asked me that question. I actually have the full answer on my starter guide. But I could date someone that was not vegan. I couldn't have kids and raise a family, you know, because dating is getting to get to know somebody and as they are, how they are, and we grow together. If they're not willing to make a transition, because there's a lot of things as far as compassion and the process of food that I've learned that don't sit well with my spirit. And then there's ailments in our community and my family, and bodies dropping left and right, and it's hurting us at the end of the day. So if there's an understanding, and hey, I'm a part of that person transitioning, I'm more than willing to help. But as far as raising a family, getting married, having kids, and all of that kind of stuff, that's a different story for me, because we got to be on the same page.
Right.
So basically, what you're saying is, for somebody to holler at you, they gotta get a meetup. I know some dudes gonna get a meetup.
No, not to holler at me, but they have to not put me down. I don't put them down. We got to grow. We got to build together. We got to transition.
No. I'm saying holler at you from the South, meaning like try and talk to you in order for a dude to get
I know
with
how
you.
to make. No, they don't have to come 100. We grow.
You just got to be willing to go there to get the whole thing going.
Have the conversation.
I can make
Eventually,
vegan chitlins. I can make vegan chicken. I know how to do all of that and make food taste just like I grew up.
So would you still cook the food? Would you? So let's just say you talking to somebody and they like.
She said she'll make
vegan version.
Vegan.
She's gonna be swapping things out.
I ain't had no
There's
good
10
vegan
nuggets,
ribs. I'm
5
gonna
of
tell you
them
right
might
now.
be
I
vegan.
ain't had no good vegan
I
ribs.
serve you some though.
Now, real quick, Maya, like a lot of times people who get into that whole lifestyle, right? You know, the first couple months, even weeks rather, is a little relapsey. It's a little hard, right?
Yeah,
so let's just say, you know, what's your almost relapse moment that you've had since you've been on this vegan path? Like, you know, you're doing your thing, you eat healthy and clean, and maybe like the smell of Popeye's chicken maybe make you kind of waver a little bit. Like, what's that thing that makes you almost miss the old stuff?
Okay, so that's no longer for me, because I know how to cook now. But when I first started, what I did, so I didn't have a relapse, I went vegetarian first. So that means I could include dairy, cheese, and all of that stuff. And during that time, I researched a whole lot of different cheeses and companies that I would try out during the vegetarian phase, so that when I went vegan 6 months later, I wouldn't have problems. But when I went vegan for the first 6 months of that year, I gave myself 2 cheat days, so a week, so that I would have something to look to, and I didn't even crave it anymore once I found the substitutes. So I didn't have the desire to cheat after I seen all the documentaries and what I could substitute regular dairy with, regular cheese with, all the base meats that are available.
And what's your gateway food to like try to bring people over? Like if somebody was thinking about going vegetarian or vegan, what's that thing that they should try? Because it has a negative connotation sometimes to people who don't know. Like L'Oreal's a vegan. I'm like a part-time vegan. I'm a vegan till like noon every day. I'm working on
soul food, the fried chicken. Those are the transitionals. The mac and cheese. Collard greens are already vegan if you don't put ham hocks in it, or whatever. But traditional soul food, when you can make that taste good and make it the plant-based version, and people don't even know the difference, that's the big thing. There are a lot of spots in DC, by the way. Everlasting Life, New Vegan. I mean, the list goes on and on. And you don't know that you're eating the plant-based version. So I would say to start with soul food, because that's what I grew up on. Anything that has flavor, like Indian, Thai, Italian food. Yeah.
All right, we're making people fat as we continue this conversation right here.
Now, yeah.
No doubt. So, quarantine life, everybody's about it. Everybody's living it right now. What has been the hardest part about the quarantine for you right now, Maya?
The hardest part, maybe not getting my nails done, so I took them off completely. I'm not.
Same.
That's not even the hardest part. I mean, outside of what's happening with the world, I'm worrying 24/7 about my family, especially the ones that do have diabetes and all of these ailments, and the older generation, because it's unpredictable. And everybody's susceptible. Everybody's at risk. I've been reading a lot. I've been recording. I've been in my studio a lot. I have been exercising. That's probably been the biggest challenge, because the refrigerator is my best friend.
Yeah, all of us.
Everybody else out there. What I haven't been doing is going out to the store. So I'm about to do a nice water fast and try to eliminate my portions, because trying to work out every day is a struggle. To start it, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I know I want to make excuses. Oh, I don't have access to my gym or whatever. But there's plenty of stationary exercises that I could be doing. And I get to it, but getting to it has been the biggest challenge. I'm not going to lie.
Now, Maya, you mentioned kids earlier. Is that something that's on the horizon or something that you're thinking about soon? Unless you
Uh,
had one on the secret, like you do these secret concerts?
I have not had the baby bug yet. It has not
Really?
been for me.
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, I have fur babies. I have some godchildren. I have nieces and nephews, but having kids hasn't kicked in for me. I'm sure it will. But I'm
Right.
still like on my hustle. I'm still on my grind.
I know
Even
that's
though I'm
right.
stationary right now, I'm still like doing contracts and paperwork and recording and writing and stuff. But I'm sure it will be on the horizon. Hopefully before my eggs expire. You know, but
Now,
me and my
if you
girlfriend,
was to plan your perfect family, like what would the combination be? Like,
oh my goodness, finances are very important, but I would want a father in the home. And if that's not a possibility, at least to be surrounded by a community of love. You know what I'm saying? I would want to have children with a father.
are
My
you taking boy girl or like girl girl boy 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 girl girl girl
oh,
girl?
okay. I would want twins, a girl and boy.
Knock them
Twins running
out
your
one
family?
time.
They do.
Oh my God, you
Ah.
might have twins.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, that would be
And they're
dope.
gonna come out dancing.
I always find it interesting, especially when it comes to women, and as we grow, it's like there becomes that. So when you gonna have kids, or when you gonna do this, and like I know you were about to say something about your girlfriends, and then it's like you look at all your girlfriends around you, and they're having kids or things like that, and that always tends to be a conversation. But you, like you say, you're still on your grind, still on your hustle. So, do you ever feel like there's always like some kind of pressure in the background to be like, hey, what about this? So, you
I
know,
think as women or even as men, when you get to a certain age, of course, people are always wanting either grandkids. My mom is my accountant, so she's never actually pressured me in that area. Right.
She like, keep
But
making that money.
you know, but my fans are like, "When are you doing this? When are you doing that? It's time. How come nobody wiped you up and get? When are you gonna have babies? It's time for little Maya to be running around." I'm like, "Okay, y'all are gonna assign me somebody to have them with." Gonna name a child and everything, but it's exciting. I love kids. I've worked with kids in the past. I've taught kids. That was actually my first job as a dance teacher. I
mm,
really love kids. As far as having some, it just hasn't kicked in yet. You know?
mm.
Now, when you was just saying, like, fans be asking you, how come no one's wifed you up? It always seems like it's a one-sided thing. Like, a dude's gonna
Right?
come through, beat
I
you over the head, caveman style, drag you away, and then you're mine, you belong
Yeah.
to me. But how much of that has been the dudes you've been talking to, and how much of it has been you saying you're not the one?
I've never actually understood that term wife. What's that mean? When y'all got
Mm.
shoes?
When
I
we
know what
come
it
in,
is
we
to
come
be a
through and
wife.
say, we
Let's
come
What
through
is that
go.
and yeah.
materialistic courtship? What is
Talk
that?
about it.
But I know it's a trendy term, so I never really pay attention to it. I do get a lot of those comments, and guys have definitely tried, but I've been so focused um, to take care of myself, obviously, and all the fan requests, but also being an independent artist is a whole different beast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got to be on the clock 24/8. It doesn't stop. And then when you have a family, you're the oldest sibling, and you want to see, generations beneath you or coming up behind you have wealth. You have a different type of mindset. You don't want the women in your family to struggle anymore. So I do
Mm,
it for a lot of different reasons, plus community and foundation and these kids out here that need community centers that are being stripped away. My mindset is a little different,
mm.
and I gotta be treated right too.
Right.
So
Let's be clear. You didn't want to
that's not
wipe them up. It's not the other way around. You
so,
didn't want to wipe them up.
uh,
Okay, sis?
right. I mean, I've had relationships, but they go crazy a little bit because I can't even tell you why, but there's an insecurity that takes place,
Uh,
and that's not something that I have time to deal with when my
Mm.
focus is completely different. We got to be on the same page, and you got to be supportive of that and not be insecure because my work requires travel or I'm in the studio till 8 o'clock in the morning,
Mm.
by myself or working with someone else. So it's a different type of lifestyle that somebody has to be invited into to understand it, see it, witness it, but also not be that shit crazy.
Right.
Okay, now Maya, what's your breakup style? Because everybody has a steez when it comes to breaking up with
It
people.
depends
Are
on
you
the
a
person.
are you a texter, or are you a final
Depends.
phone call,
If we're
or
gonna
are
be
you
arguing, you know, if you're crazy and
Block.
you won't let me leave out the door, I'm not breaking up with you in person.
Oh my goodness.
Most
So I have to be
petty reason you broke
cut
up with
off.
somebody.
What'd you say?
Most petty reason you broke up with somebody.
I've never broken up with anybody on a petty reason.
Oh,
No, that's right.
Serious. I hold on for dear life. I give chances and chances and chances, and I try to make it work.
wow?
Give benefit of the doubt. But after that, I know I've put my all into something, and that's when I gotta cut the cord. And when I cut it, it's no turning back.
Now,
With
when's the
love
last
and
time? Oh, go ahead.
light. With love and light.
Okay.
From
love
afar.
and light.
Right.
Now, Maya, when's the last time somebody broke up with you?
That's actually never happened.
Oh,
I've always
Whoa.
been the one
Undefeated.
who has to walk away. You
Okay.
know, I've just seen my mother go through too much. Women in my family go through too much, and I just promised myself that I wouldn't be that woman.
Okay.
Was there any time that you looked at a situation like, thank God I dodged that bullet? Because I'm thinking of one situation in particular, and I seen like a person mention your name, and I'm like, girl, thank God you got away from him. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, it could be many people that.
He's a football player. But anyway, he just involved your name in some things. But have you ever like thought back like, woo, thank God I'm away from his ass?
Oh, I mean, yeah, all the time. But sometimes people are just necessary to open up your eyes to what other people are going through in this world,
Right.
and for you to get on your grind like never before. Sometimes that ignites a fire within you, and it's necessary to go through things.
yeah.
Period.
And the grind continues with your music too. A lot of people don't even realize. A lot of people don't realize you still out here with the Grammys. I remember I saw your name on a Grammy for the Grammy nominations and winning Grammys, and it's just like one of the things I think is cool is that you continue to do it your way. You're writing your own rules and you do your own collaborations. Like you spoke to being an independent artist, so I guess you get a lot more freedom, but with that freedom comes, I guess, a lot of difficulty with getting it out there, or versus having like a record label representing you. Do you feel like, what's the difference for you as an independent artist? And talk about your latest joint that you got.
Well, it's really simple being an independent artist creatively.
Mm,
Even getting it out, I can put out music anytime, set the release date. The release dates don't change unless I want it to. I control the
okay.
budget, but I gotta generate the budget. So I'm no longer borrowing money from, the major labels or owing it back. I get to see what comes in, what goes out,
Mm,
make the proper decisions. So I'm not going broke, you know. But you do have to be on the grind to create the budget. And
mm.
so outside of touring, what else do you got going on to fund this? Producers want to get paid. Songwriters, you want to take care of your team, mixing, mastering, photos, stylists, hair, wardrobe, hotel, flight, you know. Um,
You're in
you
charge of
know,
all that now. You have
all
to
of
kind
that.
of watch that,
Well,
everything.
I mean, I've always been involved creatively,
Mm,
but I've never actually cut the check direct. And
Mm.
that's me for the last 13 years now. Well,
mm.
almost 13 years as an independent artist. So you're literally doing everything that your major label would have done for you, and then some, because you're also drafting the contracts, also doing what the managerial aspects are, like the publishing split sheets and the negotiations directly with the producers.
Mm.
So I mean, I love it because it gets done the way it's supposed to be done, and you're very happy with your work. There's no budget that you gotta wait for to open up. I have my own studio, so I invested in that so I can have access to be an artist
Mm.
24/7, and just build and get better and better. Um, yeah, so I'm not discouraged. I would say you don't have access to the millions of dollars and the machine to push it
Right.
through
Right.
different channels, but the world has changed so much from when I was an artist coming up in
Right.
the game. Everything's digital and streaming now.
Yeah.
Oh, nobody's waiting to go into a record store and get a cassette tape or a CD single. I do press up physical copies for fans and memorabilia and stuff, and sell it direct at tours or through my website. But you don't have to worry about all those overhead costs anymore. So it's a lot easier now to be an independent artist than ever before.
Would you ever take on an artist?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Do you have any now that you're interested in working with?
I do have my mindset on one person that I actually saw online 2 weeks ago. He can flow, he can spit, and he's from the DMV on some his tip. I was very enlightened and uplifted when I listened to his music. So I'm going to reach out soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear that. And you got your single, "You Got Me Part 2," which is now available for pre-order. You could pull up online and get that. The original was dope. What can we expect on the remix or the part 2?
Well, this one is dropping on the anniversary of my first album, so I have to pay homage to all the 90s artists in R&B that I was inspired by. It has vibes like Aaliyah, Jodeci, Bobby Brown, a New Edition, inflections on there, Roger Zapp, and Bink, heavy hitting.
Oh, Bink fire. Yeah,
no doubt.
The beat. And it's just for my fans that have been rocking with me in the R&B space for 22 years. You know,
that's so dope.
There's so few artists that can say that. And in addition to the record stuff you're doing, you also been getting your act on. Season 2 of Fifth Ward is going to be dropping, I think, sometime, May, they said, I believe.
I don't know if it's going to be that early, but this year.
Yo, total transparency. Like, I took an acting job on that show only because you were associated with it. I get on the set, I'm like, yo, so is Maya in the scene? They're like, no. And you're a SWAT guy. And
they were like, please step away from the talent.
I was so disappointed. Like,
Greg Carter.
I flew all the way to Houston. I shot my little 1-2 line scene. They put me right back on the plane. I was back in Atlanta like before.
Hey, man, that boy Greg Carter crazy. Hey, man, I want y'all to do the scene like this now. I want you to be mine. Listen, I need you to go all the way in and give me some of that soul on this next one.
And out of fear, they wouldn't even let me do the part where I jumped out of the SWAT van. They had somebody else do that, and they just did a close-up of me saying my line.
That's not even that high of a jump, Crack. They would then trust you?
I guess not. And maybe it took me longer to sign the paperwork than it did to like shoot my scene. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, I'm in a series with Maya, so that's dope. I'm not mad at it. But so proud of everything you're doing. And because it's all about you, we want to play a game called It's All About Me. Now, Maya, we're going to ask you a series of lightning round questions. You should totally know the answer to these because they're literally all about you, all right? Question number 1. What physical attribute about yourself you are most proud of?
Well, now that I got my Invisalign, hey, my teeth.
I've always had dope teeth.
When did you need an Invisalign?
Look, let me tell y'all, I thought that I'd chip my tooth during the show. My dentist told me, he's like, you're probably going to want Invisalign soon because your bottom tooth moved forward and chipped your front tooth, and it's going to happen again if you don't fix it. I thought it was my microphone because this happened before.
Right.
But now my teeth have moved. I got braces when I was like 15, and they've moved over the years. So yeah, I got my Invisalign a couple weeks ago.
Yo, it would be so crazy if you would have been out here like Chip Tooth Nas back in the day. Like,
oh no,
that lisp would have been incredible.
Somebody still would have been trying to holler at it though. The teeth, though, it don't even
I'm
melt.
struggling with this a little bit right now because they put these little things on top of your teeth to hold your retainers in place. I was struggling on live to pronounce my words. Anyhow, next question.
Next question. All right, you were on with Dancing with the Stars. If you could do it again, what celebrity would you do it with?
Oh, like as a dance partner?
Yeah. If you could have a celebrity dance partner, who would it be?
Probably Usher. You know, we're from the same era, so we could probably still move the same equally. I have a little too much energy for me at my age. So I'd probably pick Usher as a dance partner.
That's dope. Okay, so here's another one. You were a lot of people, and still are, a celebrity child crush. Like they loved you while they were younger, and they were like, oh my God, I want to be with Maya. So when you were a child, who was your crush? Who was your celebrity crush?
Oh my goodness. I had a crush on LL Cool J. I had a crush on one of the guys from In Living Color. He had the high top fade. I don't know if that was Sean.
Sounds like Sean.
Yeah, I thought they were so cute. And you know who else? When I was a little girl, I told my mom that Emmanuel Lewis, who played Webster, was my boyfriend.
Have y'all ever met in real life?
Yes, I met him in the studio in Atlanta, and I think he was headed to a strip club. Well, I was
No way.
Wait a minute.
Wow.
No, if you
Real
follow
life.
him on Instagram, quietly, Emmanuel Lewis has a very lit life. Like,
For real?
yes.
he is not George and Mom Papadopoulos' kid anymore. Like, yo, he's
At all.
out here, like, yo, he's living it.
That's so
And
crazy.
he's a karate master too. Like, run up on Emmanuel Lewis.
Really?
You will sustain
come on,
so much.
crack. I will beat Webster ass.
Yeah,
Those things are
okay.
gravity, man. You can't just pick them up and throw them. They heavier than
That's
they
the
look.
first thing I'm doing. Hey, Mike, I got one for you. All right, so there's a lot of times you get, I know, especially when you first start out, you get pitched songs, and you have to make the decision: do you do the song or not? Are there any songs that you got pitched that might be hits now that you might have turned down, that could have been that you were supposed to put out that we may not have heard of? Were there any projects like that, or any music that you were like, hey, you know, this song got pitched to me, but I didn't like it?
No, that's luckily never happened because I would have been kicking myself. No, I can't think of anything.
Well, I have another question. Why did you lie in that song and say, you know, I wear a size 4? Because, girl, you was looking more like a 0 or a double 0. Did you really wear a size 4?
I really did. I don't anymore, but I wore a size 4.
No way. Every time I saw that part of the song, I'm like, she got to be at least a double 0 or maybe a 2. I'll give her a 2. For
No,
real?
never been a 0.
But then I apologize.
She's a dancer. You know, the dancer. When you a dancer, you got curves no matter how small you are. You gonna have a little pump. You got a little bump.
You can have a curve and be a 2.
It might have been a 0 in the waist, but everything else wasn't. So
Okay, Maya.
All right, now Maya, out of every rapper who's ever given you a verse, and there's been a lot of heavy hitters there, you've had the top tier. Some people's top 5, you would even say. Jay-Z, Jada Kiss, just naming a couple. Who gave you the hardest verse ever? Out of every rapper that you've ever collabed with, who had the hardest verse out of everybody?
Hardest verse. That's so hard for me to say. Oh. Hardcore. I would actually say it's between Jada and Jay-Z.
Right.
People have their favorites between those two.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, Hove killed that record. Jada did too.
Jada.
But Hove, come on.
As soon as he came in with yes, y'allin', you got the rest from there. Like, you know, the whole crowd got it.
Now, when Silk the Shocker said 1 to the 2, 2 to the 3.
I ain't saying leave him, but you need to like roll with me. I mean, come on, classic.
Love.
Man, you got some dope collabs. All right, one more for you. Check this out. So, what is a show that people would be surprised that you're into?
I was into Breaking Bad heavy when it came out. I was addicted. I watched every series. I was binge watching too. Right now, the latest thing I've seen was When They See Us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
I
fire.
thought anybody would be surprised.
Have you watched Tiger King yet?
I haven't.
Would you watch it? It's really good. We are all Tiger King fans.
awful.
We all the way in with the Tiger King.
Would somebody be surprised if I did?
No, everyone's watching.
We're actually surprised that you haven't watched Tiger King.
Yeah.
That's my next plan to binge watch. So you would recommend that?
Oh,
Like,
heavily.
Okay.
I think she got to do Ozark if she like Breaking Bad.
You really
True.
do. You really do.
Yeah.
Like,
know,
I'm about to
give you
write
a
these
list.
down. We're gonna
Later
give
to
you a
be
list.
productive.
Yeah, forget recording music. Why don't you just be a couch potato? Like,
Do nothing. Take the time to do nothing.
And with both of those shows, once you start the first episode, you're gonna find yourself, I don't know, like Netflix your TV's gonna be like, are you still watching?
fact.
It's gonna pull you all the way in. It's one of them joints.
Good shows.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
Both of them. You don't gotta go nowhere. Netflix, they got you covered. Well, yo, Maya, we love you to pieces, and thank you so much for pulling up on us. Yo, your energy is always infectious, and you always just have like a glow around you, and it's not the lights that are over your head. Like, you literally have a dope glow about yourself. I can't wait till this quarantine's over so we can see you rocking out in real spaces and places again. And hell yeah.
Appreciate you, but for now, just come to my IG live weekly at Maya Planet 9. I got a banger coming for y'all, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for having me.
Much love. Make some
Thanks
noise
for
one time for
hanging
Maya.
Out there.
We are the Morning Hustle.